Hello, everybody. This is James Diboe, Discovering, dedicated to original peoples as always. And we got a special guest on, the editor, the producer of the documentary Original Peoples, Mr. Terence Smalls. How you doing, my brother?
Hey, what's good, James? Okay, all good, man. All good.
All good, all good. I have great feedback from the documentary. Your editing skills was impeccable. That's what I can say. Amazing. Everyone was very surprised on how I was put together. Plus I arranged a lot of the guests to come on, and some guests that like Ovrenov Rashidi passed away. I had to add him on to there as well. Let's speak about some of the guests. And we started off well. Obviously, I went on first. I was just promoting about original people, some of the travels and different places. Didn't get every country on there. I got like a lot of Africa on there. I didn't get Madagascar on there or Mauritius, but I got the Pacific Islands on. Got I wish I would have put South America on as well.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is we need to do another one because there's a lot of countries that didn't come up in it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, you can only put so much into the space of time that we had anyway. But and then also Zabdi Uchenna, Nation of Islam brother. Also, he was speaking on former professional boxer, which definitely needed to be added on. We've never really covered that topic with him before. So and then we got Nazra Elliott, activist. Definitely, she put some great talk down on that. Who else? We went on Errol Graham after that, weren't it?
Errol Patrick. There was some good. It was good, because the guests were all different ages, man. You know what I mean? Different backgrounds, different stories, but they all had something interesting to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, Michelle Walker, Pan-Africanist, and her experience in Nigeria was interesting. What she was saying, and wherever she travelled to as well. So I thought that was interesting. She's been a Pan-Africanist for a long time. I remember a while ago going to a Pan-African group, and she was like, couldn't have picked a better person to be running it, definitely. And also yourself, I was interested in how you put it yourself. You were very articulate with your words, and very interesting, good speaker. Definitely.
Yeah, it was a good documentary, man. It's a good, for considering the fact it was our first go.
Yeah.
We'll go forward, we'll just get better.
Definitely. And your uncle as well, Professor Small.
Uncle Stephen,
yeah.
I like Jimmy Lang, man. I like Jimmy Lang. I like obviously Renoko.
Jimmy
Jagney, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, definitely very good.
And Janice Myers.
Janice Myers as well. Yeah.
Some good ones in there, man. It was all good.
Yeah, and then obviously I added on Tao Haranuba. He was near the end. He's a grandmaster spiritualist, and interesting hearing stuff from someone who's living in Africa and living those practices of spirituality. Because we try and engage into spirituality, but some people actually live it to the core. From ancestor passed down, and that's what I'm trying to connect to anytime I travel around Africa. All the travel around any indigenous peoples, they all seem to have their own type of spiritual systems as well, And obviously Ovrenov Rashidi, definitely very important. Ovrenov Rashidi, rest in peace, the grandmaster teacher. 125 countries around the world, search for the global African presence. It was just amazing how I even first came across that man. And being able to connect with them, bring them to Liverpool to do the show in the Caribbean Centre and do a Zoom with them. So that was definitely a privilege. Is there any more guests that we forgot about?
I think, when we added the couple of guys, and at the end we added Ovrenov Rashidi, we added Robin Walker.
As well, yeah.
The older school guys who've got a bit more knowledge, like the authors and all that. I think that was a good idea, to give, because they didn't really have a full interview, but, it would have been on for too long if we put them on a full interview, but at the same time, there was still enough there, for us to get like a little understanding of where they're coming from, what they've done and stuff. Because Robin's an author, isn't he, as well? So
definitely.
Yeah, man, I like that. That was a good idea from you. That just to add them, get some champions on small clips and put them together. And as you say, Renoko, he's there's no one like him. I don't think rest in peace. So so good, man. Good idea.
Definitely. So great feedback off it anyway, and maybe like who knows in the future what's to come anyway. You were speaking about a series that sounded quite interesting. A series, maybe half an hour series or something like that.
Yeah.
Each one.
Yeah, this is what I want to. Yeah, I'd like to do that in the future. We have to have a conversation around what kind of topics we're going to do.
Yeah.
Or I want to be. I was speaking about this with one of the guests, actually, Earl Graham. I was talking about I want to be in a position when I'm putting out constant content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's a joint project with you or Michelle Walker, or if it's something on my own, I just want to be putting out more stuff a lot more regularly. So
yeah,
you know, we can just basically we should work together on something.
Definitely.
And one upload a week, you know, one upload a month, something. Just keep constant. Definitely, that's the plan anyway.
Yeah. Well, last October, what I did was I did like a special of different guests, but I put them on a playlist. So normally, say I do a podcast, I usually just upload it as soon as I can. But in October, if you noticed, I had about 10 interviews or something that month. But I put them all on like a playlist. So one would be on like this day, one would be on that day. You know, you upload to your channel. And I thought it was better that way because you could even do 3 interviews in one day if you want, and then or you could do one each day. And it says playing them each day, you've got them all set up so each week they're coming out, or each day, whatever day you want them to come out. So I did that was a special just for October. I don't normally do that, but I just decided to do it for the Black History Month, even though it continues, but I just done it for that month anyway. So definitely a playlist is definitely good. And then that way you've got your rotation every single week on the same day, you know, pick a Sunday, pick whatever day is best. So yeah, that sounds interesting. That I definitely look forward to that. And joint ventures, most definitely. And
we've got people as well in our WhatsApp groups and our Facebook groups who can, you know, make suggestions. Or who can even join with us, other people who've got media channels, YouTube users. So there's a lot of opportunities, man, definitely.
Yeah, and the good thing about it was even though it was like close to 2 hours, it was great to have different guests just coming on, one guest and then the next guest. I mean, maybe it'd be good if one was like, say we did cuts, we did the different cuts in that maybe one time, and maybe it doesn't have to be for 2 hours, it could just be an hour or something like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like if we cut it down, we can make it more engaging. You know what I mean? Definitely, because it's all time, isn't it? And because, like I said, I wanted if that would have come out the way I wanted it to be, I don't think I would have ever finished it because I kept seeing something and it's like, oh, I can change that, and I just had to tell myself, listen, you need to get the documentary out, man. It's never going to be perfect, but it's like, you know, if we cut back on the time a bit, then yeah, definitely, man, we can make them more exciting, more. Whatever.
Well, the good thing was, even though because it's the first documentary, so it was kind of good that it was long because it's the first one. It gives like that. There was a lot put into it, you know, and all angles from different guests as well. And the music in the background, some great music in the background as well. That was important. The music,
hip hop classics, man.
Yeah,
some good beats there, man. Definitely.
Yeah, and then also some of the pictures from, you know, whether someone was talking about Africa, each country, what someone was talking about, being able to show footage. You know, whether it was, good stuff, man. You know, whether it was pictures of Hannibal, you know, whether it was pictures of the Moors, you know, even like the Ijaw tribe of Nigeria on the ship, when I was talking about the water spirits. So that's what it was about, though. And filmmaking, definitely it's about connecting with a few different people. Definitely Michelle Walker, she's already involved in those things as well. So I know she has something called Metal. It's on every month, so you'll have to get down there. Oh, she has also in Aspen Yard as well to get down there too. So yeah, it's about, I think if people can put all the ideas in together, definitely could be like more contents to come, definitely. You know, but I mean, first time doing the documentary, your editing skills were excellent. Though, where did you learn even how to edit?
You know, I've just been doing little lessons here and there over the last 2 or 3 years. You know, I jump on YouTube, how to do this, how to do that, and I've done a lot of lessons kind of thing. But I was using I was on my laptop at first.
Yeah,
I had to transfer the skills from the laptop, which was a different app, over to my phone where I'm using CapCut. basically.
Okay.
So I've done the whole documentary, the whole side that I did, which was obviously the editing. I just done it on my phone with mostly CapCut. So you know, these apps are powerful now, and they've got so many different tools on them. Most people would be surprised what you can get out of them. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's it. And it's just, I probably only used about 10%, 15% as well as the things that was available to me, because it's such a powerful program with so many options on and so many, you know, so many effects.
Yeah.
If you could master that, I'm going to keep learning it, you know what I mean? Because obviously, you know, this is what I want to do in my spare time. I want to do some kind of media stuff. So the more I learn, like I said, that was the first time. I'm going to pick up some new skills, going to pick up some new, you know, just keep adding, man. Keep adding audio tricks, visual tricks, all of it, and just see where it goes, definitely.
Good. And, you know, if you go further into these things, you can even like set up like little courses where some youth learn how to get into editing, you know, whether it's anything, doesn't matter if it's like filmmaking, documentaries,
even music production,
podcast or whatever. Definitely, because you know, I've had just based on the feedback that I've had from older people as well, not just young people. So, and like I did say in the beginning, I was happy when we added on some of the older guests. You know,
same good addition, man. Especially when the whole one there, Walker. Definitely.
Yeah, it's very important that, because different ages can watch what you're doing and relate to it from that generation to the younger generations. You know, so I think. And
Tao Tao as well. Sorry, I have to say Tao Tao, obviously, you know, being the only guy in the documentary who's actually based in South Africa, he's got a good perspective, you know, to offer and to share, because like I said, he's living there, so, and obviously well educated.
Yeah. So also, definitely Tao. Also, we got to mention Abraham Ojapa Yamtree. He was definitely interested in some of the about the health side of things, veganism.
All that stuff's important, man, isn't it? Especially now as well, because like you were saying, there's a lot of people, you know, with ignorance when it comes to health and diet. And black people see that for quite a bit, you know what I mean? When it in that regard. So, yeah, man, we need them, definitely.
And also, he was the cameraman for most of it, you know. So that was great. With the microphone as well. So, you know, it was like stepping up the game on contents as well, you know. So, I mean, me in the future, I want to definitely get like higher tech, better computer, you know, better microphones. You know, anything, because the longer you're in something, the better it is. I mean, I've even got like a big podcast table there, but I've got to make sure, you know, you've got the cameras set up and all that one. So it's all better than you're trying to better everything you're doing.
As we move forward, we'll add, you know what I mean? We'll add new equipment. Probably at some point, I want us to set up like a podcast room, you know what I mean? Like you're saying, we get our table up, we get our microphones. I had like kind of what Chase Lynch was doing, and just sit there and chop up, you know what I mean? But that's something that's for later on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, funny enough, you said Jason, that like it was great setup in the studio, and they've got the space, you know, they've all got the surround sound, you know, there's a lot of things like which were great benefits. Now I look at that as my startup to really getting into the podcast. Now, the advantages that I feel I have now, I can do a podcast for as long as I want. Like, for example, and also I feel like I can talk about extra things now, because you're not on someone else's channel. I'm on my own channel. So they were not saying there was restrictions, because we just talk about what we want to talk about, but there's no one in the background like giving any weird looks, if you know what I'm saying. So you know, so it's easy. It's just nice when you just run your own thing. That's basically what I mean, because like these type of topics, some of the topics and some of the guests, you know, like even your uncles introduced me to some guests from, you know, Brazil. Amilca Pereira, that was his name. That was interesting. Very interesting. You know, listen to his story in Brazil, growing up in the favelas. You know, the favelas is one dangerous place to grow up in. You know, so, and with him being like light skinned, but he said he was raised by his father, a black man, who was a fighting against oppression all his life, racism, a freedom fighter. So I was interested. So he's basically come directly from a source of activism. So then he's become a professor himself. So I more prefer people like that, where they have like a solid background for they already started off from a youth, seen it, and now he's telling me that.
You know what impressed me as well with that guy? He actually set up a Black History Studies course, I think, in his university, and before he came there, it didn't exist.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I'm telling you, where he literally set something up, Black History or Black Studies or something. It was the first department in his university. So, you know, it showed me that even where this stuff doesn't exist, if you push for it, then, you know, you can win. You can change the status, change the curriculum. You know what I mean? So
yeah, one thing, like I was watching something on Speaker's Corner yesterday, but I posted out. I was interested in some of the different points that people were making. Now, one thing that is so important, that it's about controlling the narrative, because everyone else controls the narrative. And I think that we allow other people to control our narrative, even though that we feel we're powerless, but we must take control of the narrative. You know, no one's stopping you producing your contents, producing, you know, it's about like upliftment. And
take ownership, basically, isn't it?
Take ownership, yeah. Take ownership, because if you don't have ownership and you're not independent, then there's always someone who you're going to work for, who's going to control your narrative, and it ain't going to go good.
It's like an editorial board, isn't it? Like, you put your stuff out and then they look over it and go, "Ah, that's a little bit too. We'll take that out. We'll take that out. Yeah, you can keep that." This is the cost of bringing other people in.
Yeah.
You know, for funding, it's like funding's all right, but usually when people bring funding, they want to control, like you said, the content. Your documentary, your podcast channel wouldn't be what it is if you'd been taking money. Because he'd say to you, talking about ancient original African history, you know, talk about slavery, talk about racism, talk about violence, talk about you know, and all that stuff. They want you to get away from the powerful stuff. So you know what it is.
Well, I knew when I first started the podcast, I knew, first of all, you look at the landscape, what's going on around you, and other places. So when you see the landscape is, wow, a lot of negativity here. You know, it's all about the transatlantic slave trade. It's all about gang knife crime, or it's all negative. So it's like, well, there's this like service where it's just all negative and there's nowhere to go. You know what I'm saying? Even some of the politicians, and it's just like, even like you be what's it called? You have the left and the right and all that one. I just go straight in the middle, man. You know what I mean? Because it's creating your own narrative, because if you jump to this left, then you deal with what's already set up on the left. You jump to the right, you deal with what's already on the right. So ignore both of them and bring what you're going to bring.
Because they're basically religions within themselves, you know what I mean? They've got a particular set of ideas and preconceptions. If you don't accept them, you'll just be blackballed anyway. And I know, like, with yourself, every situation you're going to come to, you're going to analyze it based on its own merits and evidence. You're not going to join it because someone said it's the only way, you know what I mean? So you're all right. You got to just go down the middle, man, and take it as it.
And when it comes to joining organizations, it doesn't matter where they are or what they are. You got to be very careful joining them, because you're already pulled into a narrative. There's never nothing like it's different, like linking up with Pan-African groups, and everybody has like a shared, you know, we're all dealing with the same thing, the same problems, even though different people are adding their ingredients in. But like nothing that's like solid. Anything, sometimes you sign with the pen as well. Sometimes the pen is mightier than the sword. So
exactly,
you know, that's why I don't need to start from somewhere people sign up or something like that. We're free spirits, and we just do it how we want to do it, you know. I think because you want the best out of everyone, you want the truth from everyone, and you don't need any agendas. Now, when it comes to a business side, now there's two ways to look at it. One, it'd be great if you could make a living from what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're doing it in the right way. But at the same time, if you're just relying only on like fundings, then like you said, there's always some sort of control, there's strings attached to it. So I look at the balance. I was speaking to, I had it in my show, Ancestral Voices, Verona. She had one of her books, well, a book in Harvard, Oxford University. So she's saying about like dealing with the African spirituality. So now I was like, well, you know, that's great. You've got your stuff in Oxford. But then she said, well, it's not exactly in there how she wanted it to present it. They've took it and just added what they want to add. And then so basically they're not like, so when you've like give them the contents, this is it. Now it's vast when you're dealing with African spirituality. It's not just like a couple of lines and that's it, you know. So she said that they basically take control of pretty much the narrative and write it in their own words, but deal with it as very short. So I look at, well, what is the whole point in that? But I think where the point is basically somebody, you can look at the good and the bad. You can look at the bad as in they're taking your work and they're going to try and, you know, steer it in their narrative. But at the same time, you can look at it like somebody could notice your work and decide to go buy your books or decide
Oxford's like advertise it, innit?
Yeah. For an advertiser, like go on their channel, buy their books and get the full pedigree of it. So it's just like different ways. You've got to use everything to your advantage, you know. And they've been going for like quite a few years. And one's she's with the guy she's with is a Nigerian man, you know. So it's like she's Caribbean, so they've kind of like put their connection together. So it's powerful, you know. Definitely would like to get her back on the show. Plus, I think
she was good, man. She was good. I was going to say to you as well, like Uncle Steve obviously he's published some books in the past, and if you look at the publishing people who put his books out, they're quite small and radical, you know, where like they let you be yourself, but you just don't get as much publicity and advertisements as you would if you were going with, you know, an established publishing house. But you get to keep it independent. Like Amrit, it's called. Uncle Steve writes under Amrit Publishing. They just step back and, you know, let you do your own thing. But at the same time, like I say, the cost is you don't get the same exposure you get if you go with Oxford or something like that. So it's a trade-off, isn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting. Where would you find the balance? Because at the same time, it's good if you can put out as much raw content as you can. At the same time, it would be nice to see some of these great authors benefit, you know, financially. Exactly. It would be nice if it was something like a balance of the two. You know,
that's what I think Amrit comes in. Do you remember last year, I think it was, or earlier this year, we were given a book by an author called Sanju Hira.
Okay.
I think it was on the history of colonialism. And this book was published by Amrit. Now, when I spoke to him about it, he was basically saying that, basically what I've just said before, his book remains his book, but he doesn't get the same kind of, he's not going to get the same kind of money. And he can sell it independently on Amazon, you know what I mean? You can go on all these websites and sell it independently. But they always explain how, you know, you never get as much exposure until you've got to sign yourself away.
Yeah.
You've got to sign up to someone else, and then they'll put you out there and get you all the attention and all the advertising and all that. And then, like I said, but they edit your book down, they water it down, they take things out. So it's what you obviously when we come around to doing it, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely need to get a book out soon, you know, on some of these indigenous places and indigenous peoples, most definitely, and a lot of history behind it. And definitely, it's been a longer wait now, but I'm happy to observe others that have done it too. Like, I mean, I speak to different people who've got books. Some people say that, like, well, don't go the Amazon route, you know, where the independent, because they will not promote your stuff. It's just on the site. You might even be better just selling it yourself, you know. So then people believe, no, stick to the independent. Don't go with these other publishers who, yeah, they might get more sale for you, but like you've just said, they'll water down your book.
Yeah.
You know, so it's finding that balance, isn't it? You know, I think, to be honest, independence is the best way. I believe independent, because if we're always talking about being independent, and controlling the narrative, that's the way you've got to go.
That's number one.
Now, what about it? Like, I don't know too much about how do you become your own publisher?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's something I haven't really looked into myself either, but I can't imagine it'll be too hard because I've seen so many independent publishing houses, like across in America, in Britain, even in parts of Africa where there's just so many. So I can't imagine it'll be something difficult, I haven't looked into it, but I can't imagine it'll be too difficult because it's something that we could look into, if people are actually writing and we've got something to publish, something that we can possibly do ourselves.
Maybe it's worth looking into. It might be worth looking into them things because, you want to, at the end of the day, when you do something, you want to get the best results as possible.
Yeah.
Definitely, because someone was saying on Amazon, they might just like, it's just there. They're not there to like promote it. It's just there. But maybe there's a way where you could work with them where they do promote it. But I don't know. I'll have to really look into those things.
Yeah. See, I know on social media sites like Twitter and Facebook, you can buy an advertisement for your book. Like let's say you'll pay a fee of £150 or something, or maybe a bit more. And when people are scrolling through these social media websites, your book will pop up in between Facebook posts or Twitter posts. You know what I mean? I think that's a good way to get it going.
I think that might be good. Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Especially if the social media space you're in is one with people who share the same kind of ideas, you know what I mean? Like Pan-African stuff.
Yeah. Well, also, it's like, for example, if you open up a shop in just like a quiet area, and even maybe even your rent might be a bit cheaper in certain areas, and you get your customers in. But now, if you move that shop into the city centre, you're going to draw in more customers. It might be more extra your rent, but you will make more than enough back.
Yeah.
So exactly. I think it is like, because sometimes people might feel to do it like they want to try and save as much money as they can to try and get whatever they can. But then sometimes if you're not really helping the sales go out, like advertise as much, you might have to pay for some advertisements, like you said. I think
the money you save on rents, you can lose it on customers. You know what I mean? Like where, like you said, if you're in somewhere more remote, where it's less rent, you lose your money, aren't you, from customers because there's just less people. But so if you pay the extra bit of rent, sometimes it works out better idea to get the more people in and all that, more exposure or whatever.
I believe that's thinking bigger as well. You're trying to think bigger, and sometimes I think bigger, you might have to put a bit more into it, whether it's spending a bit and then sit back and the results become a lot better. So I think that definitely I'm looking forward to in the future your uncle when he comes at some point soon. Don't want to give the date away, but he'll be coming soon. But definitely we have to link up, have a good little chat. And he's a great person to talk to. He mentioned about he could help format the book and stuff like that. Give the ideas.
For the publications, definitely, man. He's been in that game now good 30 years and he knows all the people, you know what I mean? So definitely.
There's a lot of people there who use this AI now, to help you write a book or help you. I don't really know much about AI, so I don't want to really speak on it too much. And I don't really want to get like too close to AI.
And it's still kind of new as well, isn't it? It's still only just come out. So going forward, that's going to be like, it's going to be a game changer, isn't it? And like you said, people are using it. I've used it myself.
Yeah.
Not to do the story for me, just kind of to help me do it.
I mean? We'll take the best out of it.
Yeah.
Take the best out. I mean, it can't put in no feelings, can it? But it can, or emotions. But you just put them emotions in yourself. You know what I'm saying?
It's no substitute for a human, but if you get stuck with a particular idea or something and you ask it for help, it can get you to, you know what I mean? So you just got to use it like that. If you overuse it, people will be able to see and it'll just look fake.
Yeah.
It'll come through.
Definitely. And it's like when it comes to your YouTube channel as well, you can advertise on your YouTube channel if you're selling your books, selling content. Get everything out of your channel you can. I mean, me personally, I've never actually sold anything on my channel or advertised anything. Well, you could even be. There's a lot of people when I brought some African clothes when I was traveling last time. A lot of people were asking, "Oh, haven't you got none of them for sale?" and then I'll think to myself, you know what, I should have brought loads. But it's only when people say, because sometimes you don't realize there's a high demand for stuff, because you're sometimes looking like not too many people like are very pro-African, and so. But at the same time, it's not the fact that, it's when people see you've got it on, they're like, "Whoa, yeah, I like that top." You know what I mean?
Well, you know what, right? I think the original People's brand, like, has got potential. Especially around in our area, because now the documentary is out now. We've established the brand name.
Yeah.
And obviously people already knew about it before the documentary come up, but now it's going to spread even more. So you could maybe sell some merchandise, on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Original People's merchandise, just basic things like everyone else, t-shirts, cups and all that. And I think people will buy them because they support the movement, you know what I mean? They support the work you're doing.
Yeah, and that's just one angle you do through your YouTube channel. You can do it through social media. You can do it through many different ways. I mean, we never put a limitation on how we do things, and I think because at the end of the day, there is people out there. Some people are just advertising crap. You watch many YouTube channels or many social media, and people be putting out all garbage. But at the end of the day, it moves. It moves. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's one of the main things in that.
That's something you should look into. I think that's something you should look into for next year. As when we get past the holidays, we're going to the new year. Just start thinking about adding some affiliate links, man. Like I said, and it'll be to your own stuff. It'll be to your own stuff.
That's what it is. As long as it stays independent, original, and I think that's one of the main things. Being original and controlling your narrative, number one. And it's not about watering down whatever you're doing. It's not. At the end of the day, it's just making your stuff bigger. That's what it's about, really. So anyway, if you deal with like any future projects and that, like I said, the documentary, everybody enjoyed it. It was a long lasting. Even had some feedback of some of the elder guests who were really, really happy with it. Because it was not. I mean, there have been documentaries that have come out in the city before, but if this is more like, I think this is something completely different.
Yeah. It was completely different. I've never seen it. Like, I've seen people come around here and they want to make small documentaries again, like Liverpool riots, or no one's really talked about like our relationship with Africa, man. The African history, roots, spirituality. We covered so much stuff on that documentary. I thought it was unique, to be honest. I'm not blowing my own trumpet.
No,
I was the guy I'm talking about. The content, you know what I mean? The stuff that Zabdi said, Janice Miles, Errol's stuff about the reggae, the Rasta history in the 70s. Just so, it was just full of different information and different people. So I've never seen anything like it personally.
Yeah, well, it is the first in the city, do you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, the whole idea of the beginning of it was it come out pretty much how kind of expected it to. And then with you adding the contents and the pictures, music, the great editing skills, that just set it off even like perfect, you know what I'm saying? So I do believe, and it's the same with even the podcast show I've got. I don't think this type of show what I've got has never been done before in the city, as far as totally vast Black culture from Africa to even beyond the globe, and living it and going these places, connecting with these secluded people and spirituality. And that's what makes it more unique. So it would make sense for me to connect and say, you know what, Terence, we need to do a documentary, on original peoples. And let's be honest, let's make sure we rephrase this as well. Original people, using this term is because a lot of time we use the word Black, and sometimes when we use the word Black, which is being given to us by the European, the oppressor, and we just take it on with no direction with it. We just shout Black, and that is it. But you could ask some of those same Black people that you call yourself Black, are you an African? Where are you from in Africa? And you can go more deeper into it. At the same time, some people might have Caribbean roots, and we are English-speaking people. But at the same time, we all from the motherland. Some of us might have closer roots than others, but at the end of the day, we all from the one place. We go beyond Africa, Melanesia, you know, Australia. I was seeing black people in Sri Lanka. You got them in India. Look at ancient China, Japan. Wherever you go on the planet, you'll see black people. South America, North America originally.
You and Zabdi actually picked up on this in the documentary when you started talking about Africans around the world.
Yeah,
you know,
because
in places you just mentioned there, like in Southeast Asia or whatever, and in Pacific Islanders and all that.
Yeah,
it was good. It was good that he's mentioned them. No one else mentioned them, but I'm glad that they came up because it kind of broadens people, you know, from looking at Africa.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, Africa is important, like we all know, but you can't forget about these people who you visited in all these different places, like you said, Thailand or Vietnam and all that. They're all important, man. They're still Africans, aren't they? So,
and when I read Ovrenov Rashidi's book, well, it was Van Sertima's book, Africans of Asia. As I'm reading that book, and with me, I've traveled to those places, it's like I'm really in the book. Even though I'm not actually checking the skeletal remains, but I'm looking at them as living proof. So when I'm seeing these Southeast Asians, as I'm reading this book, it's taking my mind back to these places. And I thought it was dead interesting. Like we need more, like when Rashidi said before he passed away anyway, he said that we need more research on Africans of Asia and the Pacific Islands and even ancient America. So I remember these last words that he was always saying. He was posting them on his Facebook group. He was speaking about them on his channels. And I watched many different interviews he had. And he was probably, even though he covered a lot, it was like this, just them little things left, what we need to get more in depth. It's like Chancellor Williams said in his book, hopefully the future researchers will come up with extra knowledge of these places. You don't really hear much about them places, man.
Well, even West Africa is the same. West Africa, South Africa, there's so much work that needs to be done down there. And like I said, as we get more scholars and as the the technology gets better for us to be able to these regions, we'll get it's just get better and better. 10 years, 20 years, we'll know a lot more than we do now. Definitely.
Look forward to that. And more like they said, more finance and funding need to go into places like West Africa and probably much all sub-Saharan Africa and the Sahara Desert. Big populations there that establish many places. So. But I'm happy with this interview today, Terence. Anyway, we're coming there to the end anyway, and I want to thank you very much. This is James Diboe, Discovering, dedicated to original peoples. I'm blessed anyway. Any last words to say?
Thanks for having me on, bro, and look forward to getting together for the next project soon.
Definitely, we'll link up again anyway, and put that down, man.
Yeah,
definitely. Look forward to that.